Hi everybody. To everybody who found their way to this video, whether you're a subscriber of mine or you found your way through suggested videos or you saw the thumbnail of me holding the AR-15 or whatever, however you found your way here, go check out my other videos. I got lots of different videos on all kinds of different interesting topics, so go check those out. If you like guns, definitely subscribe. We do lots of gun videos and survival stuff and tactical equipment, all those types of things, so be sure to check that out. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about today is actually my first gun, which is this gun right here, that about almost 3 years ago, for my 18th birthday, I went out and I bought an AR-15. And something that's really bothering me nowadays is what I see getting rid of ownership of these types of guns altogether, but what's difficult for me is seeing people under the age of 21, over the age of 18, who have a right to own and possess a firearm, now being stripped of their ability to do so by companies like Dick's and there's a few other ones like Walmart that have also taken part in that. Not that anybody actually buys guns at these places, but it's moving in the wrong direction in my opinion, and I'll get into why I think that is. But first I just wanted to talk about how this was my first gun. I didn't grow up in a family that owned guns. I never shot a gun until I was in my teens, and that was with friends, actually friends of my sister. And so everything that I've learned about guns from the age of 18 just built up from there. And so now what I feel negatively about is that people who would have been, or me in that situation when I was 18 years old, I wouldn't have had the ability to go out and buy a gun at, say, Dick's if I wanted to, and I wouldn't have the ability to start investing in a hobby like this. Like it's just a right. And so I guess the number one reason why I think that I went out to buy the AR-15 on my birthday is that there's no reason at all. In a free country, there's no need to exercise a right. There's no necessity to exercise a right. And so I think when people are so quick to make judgments when it's just about something that looks scary like this, that they often find themselves in the wrong. And yeah, something like this could be, very deadly or if used in whatever context. But for me, a guy like me, I don't even enjoy shooting the gun as much as I do building them and learning about them and how they operate and the mechanics of it. And that's something that I mean, as an American, owning a gun is sacred, but I really like the hobby behind gunsmithing and gun collecting and those types of things. And I don't know where I would be right now for myself if I didn't have the ability to go out and buy a gun when I was 18. Just because it's become a big part of my life, and it's a big hobby of mine, and it's even a big part of my YouTube channel here, and this YouTube channel is a big part of my life. And so for those of you who are considering sharing your opinions on whether or not someone who's 18 should or should not be able to own a gun, even though you can join the military when you're 18 and you can get shipped off to fight for freedom, but just be stripped of it back home, just keep those things in mind. But yeah, so on my 18th birthday I went out and bought this. I guess one of the real reasons why I wanted to buy an AR platform rifle was because I was pretty certain, and even up till election day I was pretty certain that Hillary would be elected. And I thought that as far as the Second Amendment, that was a movement in the wrong direction. And I thought somewhere in either her first or second term, assuming she was elected, there would be some type of push to eliminate the assault weapons, sort of like what has been done in California. And so what I want to do is actually pick one of these up while they were still legal. Now, I had never shot one of these before. I didn't know anything about them. I just knew it was a right of mine as an American, and I wanted to do it. And that's ultimately my message here. My experience from when it was actually my 18th birthday when I wanted to buy a gun, and speak to some of the false information that gets spread around a little bit about the ease of access there is to firearms, at least a lot of people choose to believe. And so when I went in to buy this, I actually purchased this at what was at the time a recently opened Cabela's in my area. And actually that day I didn't have any intention of actually going to buy a gun. I just, I had it in my mind and I wanted to go there and just check it out, but when I started looking at prices and really thinking about it, I decided to, to go with this choice. This is the MP15. At the time, guns were more expensive back then. They've been dropping a tiny bit in price since, but This was on sale, believe it or not, for $700. I think now you can find it for like $5.99, maybe $5.50 if you get really lucky, so a little bit cheaper now, but that's how much it cost me. And one of the first pieces of information, ignorant pieces of information I hear shared about these ARs or these platforms is that, you know, you can go to the gun store wherever and purchase one for, you know, like $130, $200, something like that. And definitely not in my lifetime, probably not generations before me, could you actually go buy an AR platform rifle for that cheap. You know, maybe back in the 70s or 80s when there was lots of surplus rifles being sold, you could probably pick one up for that price. But definitely not in my lifetime, I know that. So about $700, and this is a budget rifle. I think there was one that was cheaper. It was the Bushmaster. The salesman talked me out of it being a really low-end rifle. So I went with this, and the next thing that people like to share about, you know, going to buy a gun is just how easy and quick it is. And I live in a state, I'm lucky enough to live in a state that's not California, and so I was able to leave that same day with the gun, but it was not a quick experience. At Cabela's, I was probably in line for over an hour waiting to have my background check taken, or my information taken for the background check, which then takes like an additional 20 to 30 minutes to clear. And I don't have any criminal record. I've you know, clean background, so it eventually cleared. And after about an hour and a half to 2 hours after I chose that I wanted this rifle, an hour and a half to 2 hours later, I was able to walk out of the door with it. And so when people share the information that, like, you know, if I want a gun, I can go down to the, you know, the local small gun store, or even like a Cabela's or whatever, and walk out in 15 minutes with the gun, it's really not the case. And some of you may argue that 2 hours isn't long enough, maybe there should be a waiting period. I'll leave that up for you to decide your opinion on. For me, I think that wait time was, you know, it was longer than I would have wanted, but, you know, I was able to, you know, get the gun in one day. You know, as a law-abiding citizen, I can really appreciate that, and I feel bad for those who live in states like California or these other states that are wanting to do longer wait periods. And so that really sucks, but so that was my experience. I didn't have any trouble, nobody questioning me or anything like that. On my 18th birthday, I was able to pick one of these up, and I think that's, you know, it's truly an amazing thing. You're entitled to your own opinion. None of the guns I own will ever hurt anyone. Probably if there was ever a situation where they needed to be used defensively, it would be used to save lives, and I have no fear in my heart that they could be used for any ill intention or even an accident, as they remain locked up in a safe and unloaded at all times like it is right now. And so I don't see anything negative in people between age 18 to 21 owning guns, and as I am right now, I'm not even 21 yet, and so it makes it difficult for me. I can't go to, say, Walmart to buy a gun now, or even ammo, which is even more ridiculous. But that's a different story. But thank you guys so much for watching. You know, listening to my little story, my spiel. Just consider what I've said here today when creating your opinions on something like the Second Amendment and the rights of Americans to own guns. You know, age doesn't decide character. It's important to keep in mind there's a lot more uses for guns than the occasional homicide, which ultimately doesn't happen with these types of weapons anyway. But anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Check out the link in the description that goes to my Patreon. Saving money there for better recording equipment, like audio equipment to make you guys hear me better. So check that out. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.